Hey everyone, you know those projects that start with a simple problem and somehow turn into something way bigger than what you expected? Well, I'm in the middle of one of those right now. What started as basic cleanup of this corner of my barn has turned into, well, you'll see. Ends up when you live in the country, mice and other pests are just part of life. That's why we got these cats. They're from a place that specializes in fostering barn cats. They do great work keeping the rodent population under control, and over time, these little workers have somehow managed to grow on me. Which is funny because I've never really been a cat person. But here's the thing, the current living situation, well, it's just pretty basic. When we first got them, I threw together this quick shelter. It's really just some boards and some screws and some carpet. It worked out, sort of. But with the winter coming and the temperatures dropping, I knew they deserved better. So that's why I'm out here clearing this corner. Even though they're technically barn cats, they're more like outdoor pets at this point. They get all their vet care, shots, and everything else. And after watching them make do with that thrown together shelter, I figured it was time to step up their housing situation. With the space all cleared out, I didn't want to just wing it. This needed proper planning. So I took detailed measurements of every inch of that corner, including all the pole barn struts, the spacing between them, and even that window up in the corner that I thought might make a really nice cat viewing spot. All this information went into Fusion 360 for the design work. I spent probably more time than necessary tweaking the design, but it really helped me visualize how everything would fit together. With the design finalized, it was time to start cutting. First up were the 2x4s for attaching to the barn's existing structure. I made sure to select the straightest boards I could find. This would be the foundation for everything else. These first pieces needed to be perfectly level and secure. I used Simpson strong ties to attach them to the barn's frame, which is probably overkill, but I wanted this thing to last. The strong ties also made it easier to get everything square and level. Next came the least glamorous part, digging the holes for the posts. Digging these posts perfectly plumb was crucial. If they're off even a little bit, everything else will be off too. I used some temporary bracing and a lot of checking with the level and got them just right. Once the posts were set, we could start building the rest of the frame, connecting all of the barn mounted 2x4s to the posts. Each tier is essentially two rectangles and a square, all framed with 2x4s. The whole frame is probably overbuilt, but better too strong than not strong enough, right? One quick side note, I'm filming this with my new toy, the Insta360 X4. First time using it, and I love how it captures these overhead workshop shots, especially for this next part. Being able to get all these angles really helps show the whole process clearly. This was also my first project using my brand new Wen track saw. I'm not doing a review of this since I don't have anything to compare it to, but for price, it's been great for cutting all this OSB. The track system made it easy to get perfectly straight cuts, which was essential for all the platforms. And thanks to the 3D model, I had exact cut lists for everything. I laid out all the cut lists on the OSB sheets to minimize waste, which saved quite a bit of material. And honestly, the ramps were probably the trickiest part of this whole build. They needed to be steep enough to fit inside the cat playground, but not so steep that the cats wouldn't use them. After some trial and error in the 3D model, I found what seemed like the perfect angle. And then before I made both ramps, I actually just made one to make sure that the cats would actually use the thing after I put it in there, because you know how cats are. Now for what I consider the crown jewel of this project, the insulated shelters. There's no heat in my barn, so I had to get creative. The CAD model really helped here. I could experiment with the different sizes and configurations without wasting any of the material. After modeling everything, I started cutting the OSB and foam insulation for what I like to call an insulation sandwich. An OSB outer layer, foam insulation in the middle, and then OSB on the inner layer. The trick was getting all the pieces perfectly square so everything would line up when it was all assembled. Once I had the basic boxes assembled, I cut openings in each shelter. One for the cats to come and go, and another that's a hinged door for cleaning. Getting these openings right was crucial. Too small, the cats won't use them. Too big, and you lose the warmth. I designed and 3D printed custom frames for both of the openings. These serve two purposes. They make everything look more finished and professional, and they protect the edges of the opening from wear and tear, and heaven forbid a cat get a splinter. The frames took a few iterations to get right, but that's the beauty of 3D printing. You can quickly prototype and improve your design. For the cleaning doors, I used some basic hinges and a sliding latch. Nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. The latches need to be secure enough that the doors won't pop open, but easy enough to operate with one hand while you're trying to clean, or in case you have to reach in and get a cat out of there. The shelter's got a paint and coat off camera. I apologize for the continuity error. I totally didn't record this. To finish everything off, I covered all the platforms and ramps with indoor-outdoor carpet. Then we added the painted shelters, complete with ceramic insulated fabric beds inside for extra warmth. These beds are pretty cool. They reflect the cat's body heat back to them, making the shelters even more efficient. So it's been about a month since I completed the project, and I have to say, watching these cats use this thing is pretty satisfying. They've already claimed their favorite spots, and I've seen them using the shelters during our cold nights. The best part is how they made it their own. They've established their own lounging spots, their preferred paths for going up and down the ramps, and even their preferred shelters, though they do switch it up sometimes. Funny enough, my dogs never got a custom house built for them. For someone who started out not being a cat person, I might have gone a bit overboard here, but hey, if you're gonna do something, you might as well overdo it. That's it for today's build. If you enjoyed this project, don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments if you've ever found yourself going all out on a project for pets you didn't even know you wanted in the first place. And until next time, I hope I helped you learn faster.